Welcome. Yep, I'm back and I'm glad you are too. So welcome. I'm going to tell you something. I'm just dumbfounded, right? So, first of all, first order of business is to say thank you, Colonel Kurtz. Um, Hi, Becky Slaughter. Welcome. Good to have you. Hey, critters. Hi, Jackie Hughes. Jackie Hughes and Vicky Carpenter. Welcome. Dental places. Good to have you. Howdy, cooking with Jules in Idaho. Gonna have some taters from Idaho. Hi, Ceresia. Okay, I'm back. I know it's terrible. Hey, Rhonda Grace Exploring. Good to have you. I'm glad you made it. Hi, Dari D. Though, if you guys don't know why I'm sort of laughing and saying, "Oh my God, I'm back," well, because I've already made one Amber Heard video today. So I hope you'll go and watch it. And I was about to settle in for the evening and uh watch a movie or something, and then I looked over at Colonel Kurt's channel to see what she was up to, and she had posted the clips that were released for the Amber Heard interview. This is day 3 of the destruction, the complete and total annihilation of Amber Heard's career and any hope of ever resurrecting a life. she she is, look, I'm gonna tell you now, this is really something because I have not hidden the fact that I think she's a really hurtful and um, unprincipled person. And in my opinion, comes from the evidence that was released in the trial. And even with me being forthright that I think she is, I think she has a capacity to be a dangerous person. Um, I kind of feel sorry for her. Does that make me a strange person? I feel a bit sorry for her. And let me explain why. Not because I think that she's a victim. I think she has brutalized Johnny Depp. Um, we I did get a little bit more insight from this deal with Paul Bettany's son. Remember the 16-year-old son that Johnny Depp said that Amber Heard, when they were on the island, Amber Heard actually made this 16-year-old kid cry. She was so horrible to him. And now with a bit more research and kind of reading between the lines, what it looks like to me is that uh, this kid, Paul Bettany's 16-year-old son, that their family was on the island with Johnny Depp and Amber and their kids, and that Lily Rose had a crush on Paul Bettany's son. And Johnny Depp was like, sure, it's fine. I mean, they're friends and there's adults everywhere. It's fine. And Amber apparently took issue and didn't think that the 16-year-old boys should be allowed to stay on the island because of Lily Rose. And something that she said to Bettany's son clearly was was really brutal and was bad enough that it made him, cry. So we can only imagine, knowing Amber as we have come to know Amber, we can only imagine what horrible, crass things she probably, said. But nevertheless, so she's there's more information out today. This is day 3 of the personal destruction of any hope that she ever has of ever rehabilitating her reputation and career. She seems to be doing this death of any hope for her future. She seems to be doing this willingly and flying solo. Doesn't look like she's got anybody there to guide her or at least filter, get some feedback on her next move. It does appear that through reports in the media that Amber Heard had the questions that Savannah Guthrie was going to ask her. Now I want you to wrap your mind around this. Savannah Guthrie reportedly gave the questions to Amber Heard what would be asked in the interview. Okay? Now, are you going to tell me that the best that Amber Heard could do was to say, oh, says the man whose client convinced the world that he had scissors for hands? What? The whole nation blinked. The whole world blinked and said, but Edward Scissorhands is not real, Amber. One of the first jokes I made about it on Twitter is I said, oh my God, tell me it's not so. Next thing we know, Amber is going to be telling us that Santa Claus is not real. So I'm honestly having a hard time with this. Of all the characters, of all the characters that Johnny Depp has played over the years, a pirate, right? Of all the characters, Rango, he played a lizard, like a West Texas horny toad. You know, you're going to tell me that a PR team couldn't come up with a better snarky comment than, oh, you know, this man convinced people that he had scissors for hands. No, Amber. No, Amber. Nobody was convinced that Johnny Depp had scissors for hands. No one. What a bizarre comment. What a bizarre comment. Now, do I sound a little rando when we're talking about the really, really huge implications for what she's doing right now? It's just so to comment like that is so small and ignorant and sophomoric. It's so childish to say that, you know, he convinced the world that he had scissors for his hands after she has just been delivered after she has just been provided a $5 million punitive damages. And why is that worse than why is that worse than the 10 million? Well, because the 10 million was theoretically to cover lost wages from the defamation, from the slander. But the 5 million, that was punishment. That was like, you know, go apologize for slamming that door. But and that's your 10 million. Go apologize for slamming that door. But then the 5 million is, now you stand there for 10 minutes and open the door and close the door properly. Open the door, close the door. Open the door, close the door for 10 minutes. The 5 million was the jury saying, Amber, you're a horrible person. You can't make up lies about people that will destroy their ability to make money. You can't do that. It's wrong to lie about people. It was a spanking. And this girl, she's she doesn't get it. Y'all know that, right? She is going to stand and demand that the world say, Amber, you're right. And the world is not going to say that because they saw the evidence. Right? They saw the evidence. She is, I was thinking about this today after I did my first video. I was thinking, how would things have been so much different for Amber if she had just gotten the verdict, right? All things being equal, she'd gotten the verdict, and she just decided, you know what? I'm going to let everyone forget. I'm going to go into hiding for a few years, come up with some new endeavor, spend time with my child, ride horses, enjoy my life. And then quietly, 5 years or so, do some small independent film. Quietly. If that had happened, here's the deal. If that had happened, even if people saw her up on the screen, it wouldn't have really registered with them, right? The vitriol would be gone and long replaced by some other political, indignation. But at this point, what she has done is to drill her face and audacity and vitriol into our minds. It's going to be one of those things that forever, anytime anyone sees her, it's going to be an instant cringe moment. I was completely in shock when I heard her say, "Oh, I spoke truth to power." I was like, you are really not smart, Amber. You literally, you just got sued for exactly what you just said. Literally. Do you know that you could be sued again? And we have Camille Vasquez coming out today saying, yes, we are continuing to work with Johnny, quote unquote. What do you think that means? That means that Camille's pissed. That means that Camille is watching this train wreck and they're going to go after her again. That's what it means. I guarantee you. It's unbelievable. And when I learned that they gave Amber the questions before this train wreck of an interview, and these are the answers that she came up with, are you going to tell me that she could not find a single public relations person to help her? Does that sound even remotely rational? That she would come out on camera with the whole world watching, right now, currently the most hated woman in the world. Why would she think she could do this alone? That's what I want to know. Is there no preservation of self? Is there no... I've never seen anyone so tone deaf in my life. Never. So, Colonel Kurtz, if you guys have not watched Colonel Kurtz channel, I invite you to go and listen. She has a PhD, I believe they said, in English. She is very interesting. She takes deep dive into her content. She does a lot of background research. So she's not making these cute little heavily edited, 10-minute videos. She's going deep into topics, and she does a really great job. So I hope you'll go over there. When you do, tell her I sent you, and she's awesome. And so she posted today's the day 3 of the end of Amber Heard's professional life. And now tomorrow will be day 4. And then at the end of day 5, she should have so completely wrecked any hope of ever ever renewing her reputation and professional position, that, we may see her one day in HEB checking out groceries. But this is the path that she's chosen. It is making things so much worse. And I believe that this is a path of revenge. I think she wants vengeance. And what does the Lord say? Vengeance is mine. And, this is exactly why the religious people teach you, don't go after vengeance. Don't look for revenge for yourself. If you're in a position that you should be avenged, let God do it in his, supernatural manner. But don't you do it, because, revenge is a dish best served cold, lest you accidentally shoot yourself in your foot. And, Amber is fast becoming a cautionary tale on revenge. I think she went after the temporary restraining order as revenge, and it bit her in the butt. I think she wrote the Washington Post editorial, and it bit her in the butt. Here we are. She's furious that the jury sided with Johnny Depp, and she is once again, she's out for vengeance. And once again, she has been her own worst enemy.
In favor of Depp, Heard called it a setback for other women who wanted to speak up. And now she says she fears other potential defamation lawsuits from her ex-husband as she looks to move forward.
There's a text message where Johnny promises total global humiliation for you. Do you feel like that came true?
People, she had the questions. She had the questions before the interview. She knew Savannah Guthrie was going to ask her that question. So all of this bullshit, just panting and huffing and swallowing, all of that is acting. She is trying very hard to make you feel sorry for her. She had the questions.
It's total global humiliation for you. Do you feel like that came true?
She's trying to cry. She can't cry. Squeeze your eyes, Amber. Squeeze, think of the status.
I know he promised it. I testified to this. I'm not a good victim. I get it. I'm not a likable victim. I'm not a perfect victim.
Yeah, you're not likable, Amber. That's true.
When I testified, I asked the jury to just see me as human and hear his own words.
You're the abuser.
I promised to do this.
They heard you abusing Depp.
As though he has.
Amber Heard reflecting on the ripple effects of her tumultuous trial with Johnny Depp.
Having been found liable, are you nervous as we are here today about what you can say now?
Of course.
See, even Savannah is a bit surprised that she's doing this interview. You can see it on her face. She's looking at Amber and she's going, damn, is no one giving you any guidance? You really should not be here talking to me right now. And I think Savannah's kind of throwing her a bone. I think Savannah's saying, okay, Amber, I want you to really think before you talk, because I don't want you to say something else that could end up getting you, dragged into a court of law again. So listen to this little nugget.
I took for granted what I assumed was my right to speak.
Do you feel like you could be sued again by him for defamation?
I'm scared that no matter what I do, no matter what I say or how I say it, every step that I take will present another opportunity for this sort of silencing.
Amber, Everybody heard the audio. You abused him. He was running from you, and you were demanding your right to hit him. That's the problem, Amber. That nobody wants to cut your tongue out. Nobody wants to silence you. Nobody wants to take away your civil liberties. No one. What you are failing to accept is that you can't lie about other people and then just say, well, I can say that because I'm an American. No, you can't lie about people, especially to cause them embarrassment, humiliation, and harm. You can't do it. And you know what, Amber? He's coming for you again. They're going to sue you again for defamation for this interview, Amber, not because, oh, I feel like any move I make, I'm going to be a target to be silenced. Only if you're lying, Amber. That's why they're coming for you again, because you continue to lie about a man that you damn near destroyed. I'm talking about career-wise. This is craziness. Like, I'm serious. She hasn't learned anything from that trial. Nothing. It is mind-boggling that she can listen to her own audio recordings and not hear the pattern of abuse that the rest of us absolutely can hear very well.
Which is what I guess a defamation lawsuit is meant to do. It's meant to
right your lies.
to take your voice.
No, bullshit. It's
But
not
Amber
to take your
is
voice.
still speaking just days after a jury stunned many and found the actress defamed
No
Depp
one
in
was
an op-ed
stunned,
where she
Savannah.
said she was
No
a
one
public
was
figure
stunned.
representing domestic abuse. The piece, which never mentioned Depp by name, was published 2 years after the couple announced they had settled their divorce.
Life had seemingly moved on, and you decide to write an op-ed. Why did you do that?
Because the op-ed wasn't about my relationship.
I am so glad that Savannah Guthrie asked this question, because she's reflecting what all of us that have kind of taken a deep dive into this case. This is what all of us are saying. We're all thinking, damn, you got $7 million. You got connected to people in Hollywood you never would have had the opportunity to be connected with. You won the thing. Why'd you write the op-ed? Like, why? What? I'll tell you why. Because she's an abuser. Because she had to keep things going. She had to keep her victim bleeding so that she could feel powerful and happy and fulfilled.
Relationship with Johnny.
But it alluded to him. It was unmistakable.
You know, what the op-ed was about was, me loaning my voice to a bigger cultural conversation that we were having at the time.
Did you worry?
It was a lie.
Gosh, I'd love to be a person weighing in on these cultural issues, but that's going to stir this all up again.
I obviously knew it was important for me not to make it about him or to do anything like defame him. I had
Okay, she's about to tell you that she had lawyers that were protecting her from being able to be sued. Okay, let me ask you something. Your career, the thing that you love the most, would you put it in jeopardy by saying something that you thought you might get sued over? I don't mean something that you might get sued over, but you think you could win the case. No. I'm talking about, is there anything worth having to be drug into court and defend your good name? No, there isn't. Is there? People that work hard to develop a life, it's about self-preservation. It's about taking care of what you've worked hard to build, right? So if there's something that, you may do or say that you think, oh, I better get a lawyer to look at this. I better know right where that line is on what I can say and be sued, as opposed to what I could say and not be sued. I need to know where that line is so I can go right up against that line. And if I get sued, it increases the chances that I can win the case. I don't ever want to lose a case. I don't ever want to get sued and drug into a court of law for defamation of character. She's having multiple attorneys look at this document that she has written. And you know what that tells me? It tells me that she damn well knew that she was saying something that could get her sued. She knew that what she was saying was going to be poorly received.
Lawyers, teams of lawyers, review all the drafts of this.
But why?
When you wrote this op-ed, it was the height of Me Too. Legions of powerful men being canceled, losing their jobs. Did you want that to happen to Johnny Depp?
Of course not.
Bullshit.
Of course not. It wasn't about him.
But the op-ed and the abuse alleged was at the heart of the 6-week trial.
He just pulls his arm back with the phone and throws it at my face. Hit me right in what felt like my eye.
Heard testified that the final straw came after a violent fight in May 2016. 6 days later, she filed for a restraining order, cameras capturing her as she left the courthouse. But Depp's lawyers convinced the jury Heard was lying about the abuse. Police who responded to the 2016 incident testified during the trial that they didn't see any injuries and that Heard declined to file charges.
This was...
Now, she can say what she wants to say about Johnny Depp is lying, or all of his witnesses are paid employees, or people were just randos wanting to join the Johnny Depp show. She can say, makes it look stupid, but she can say it, right? But can someone explain to me how it is that you have 4 police officers during 2 different visits on the same evening who absolutely say, no, what she's saying is just not true. That never happened. Nobody said that. We don't know what she's talking about. How is she going to explain away the police officers? So let's listen.
A hoax is according to his team. Why didn't I cooperate with the police? As I've testified before, and I will stand by until my dying day, I didn't want to cooperate with them. I didn't want this to be out. I didn't want this to be known.
They didn't care if you cooperated. There was nothing there. There was some spilled wine. They didn't care, Amber. They saw nothing that led them to believe in any way that you were in danger or that anything really criminal had occurred. If you had any sign of injury, or if the place looked like there had been a fairly brutal or animated, energetic attack, they would have been required to file a report. It wouldn't matter if she cooperated. Did y'all hear that in the trial? It wasn't up to Amber to tell the police to do their job. It wasn't up to Amber. It was actually out of Amber's hands. They came in, they walked around, they looked, helpful, hubby pointed out, and here's another drop of wine, and look at this messy stack of books. And he took them on a tour, seemed to know exactly where each little thing out of, place was. And they said, we wouldn't ask her. Our report wouldn't be dependent on her. cooperating. If it's domestic violence, we're required by law to file a report. There was no report to write. And this was not one or two cops. This was two sets of cops that came at two different times in the same evening. She's a liar, like a blatantly lying, and doesn't seem to recognize that people watched the trial. She doesn't seem to grasp that people watched the trial. They listened to the police testimony, and that this is a lie. What she's saying is a lie. It may have been her original story. This may have been what she was going to say, the reason that there wasn't a police report filed, because I wanted to protect Johnny. I didn't want to cooperate and file a report. It wouldn't matter if you wanted to cooperate or not. If the police officers had seen evidence of an altercation, they would have been required to document that. And in their documentation, they would have said, Amber Heard refuses to give a statement. That's how it would have been handled, Amber. Not you calling the shots, as you seem to think, you get to do.
I didn't want to cooperate with them because I didn't want to get him in trouble. If it was a hoax, I could have done that.
But 5 days later, you went to court and it came out.
5 days later, I made the decision to stand up for myself and protect
right?
myself.
Yeah,
you
because
can't get a restraining order in private, which of course I didn't understand the night when the cops were called.
An employee of TMZ testified at court and said that TMZ was tipped off about when you were going to be going to the courthouse.
It looks
and
like
on
a
what
pimple
side of
to
your
me.
face bruises would be apparent. Did you tip off TMZ?
I was going to say, he certainly didn't get tipped off by me or anyone in my
Sure they
tip off
did.
TMZ?
Why would they? No,
Because
asked
you
no one to
wanted
do
to
that.
go
As I
after
testified to
Johnny
before,
Depp.
it had nothing to do with me.
There are different incidents that you testified to, and the Depp legal team would put up pictures of you publicly right after that.
Oh,
or in
look
the
at all
days
those
following and
bruises
saying
on her back.
that why are there no bruises?
Again, it's that thing. If you have bruising, if you have injuries, it's fake. If you don't
Bullshit.
have any, then you weren't injured.
Not
You
true,
had
Amber.
promised to donate the $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity. It was revealed at trial that you haven't done
You
so
lied.
yet. However, they played a tape where you stayed on the air that you have donated it.
And she
Do you
stated
think
it
that raised
definitively.
questions as to your credibility with the jury?
I made a pledge, and that pledge is made over time by its nature.
When
And
you say I
God
donated,
almighty.
you know that everybody thinks that you've donated it, not that you've pledged it. So for the jurors sitting there, do you think they felt like that was you getting caught in a lie?
Yes.
I don't know, because I feel like so much of the trial was meant to cast aspersions on who I am as a human,
God
my
almighty.
credibility, to call me a liar. And
Oh my God. Do y'all think that the day that she was on the stand, and I mean, Camille went hard on her about pledging is not donating, right? And you had the 7 million, all of the installments for the 7 million that had all been given to you. It was in your bank account. And yet you never paid not one penny to either the hospital or the ACLU. Not one penny. Not one penny did she pay. And she had the 7 million. It was in her bank account. Now we know that Johnny Depp gave 100,000. Elon Musk gave quite a bit. But this girl never paid a dime. And that came straight from the ACLU in the trial, under oath. Look at how cool she is as she lies. Look. anything you want to know about this girl, we have absolute truth from the ACLU who say, no, well, no, she actually didn't give us anything. Nothing at all. Nope. No, Mr. Hurd, he gave us 100,000 and we got several a million or so from it this way. But listen to her BS.
In every way you can. And
That was the trial. It was a credibility contest.
and
That was it.
This is another one of the examples where if you pull back and you think about it, I shouldn't have to have donated it in an effort to be believed. I shouldn't have had to earmark the entirety of that in order to have.
You shouldn't have, but once you said you did.
Right, which is where it was intended to go.
Heard
Oh my God. Okay. I can't. Okay. I'm gonna ask you guys a question right now. Okay. If you listen to this, knowing that we had the lead counsel on the ACLU who absolutely verified she never paid a dime. And then you listen to this. Do you think that she thinks that we're all stupid or uninformed? Or do you think she's crazy? Is it possible that she's like truly mentally insane? So if you think that she just is sort of got this narcissistic view that we're all so uninformed and less than she is, put a 1. But if you are beginning to think that she may have something truly pathological wrong with her, she may be insane on some level, put a 2. I'm just curious. We've got 115 people in here. I really want to know. So 1, this is just her thinking that nobody knows, that everybody is uninformed. But if you think that she may not be okay, put a 2. I'm just curious. I'm really blown away. Allison Williams said both. T Please says both as well. Hey, Mississippi Mud Pie. 1 with a dash of 2. There we go. Hi, 3 Rosebuds. Hi, Candlelight. Liz, welcome, DB. Hi, Rhonda Grace. Yasmina, welcome. Aren't we all there? Yeah, well, that's true, Mississippi. Judy Burgess says all of the above. She does. Oh, no, I agree, Phoebe. I think she thinks she's the smartest person in the room. Yeah, absolutely. Most people are saying 2s. The majority of people are either saying both 1 and 2, or they're going with 2. Tia thinks she's being manipulative, which I guess would go with number 1, right? That she just believes that we're all uninformed. We don't know what the truth is, and she can just continue to lie her ass off. But look at her face. Look at her eyes right there. She knows she's lying. Brain illness is an equal opportunity destroyer. Absolutely, Sandra. You're 100% right. But look at her eyes right there. And let's see who said. Shay says, that she thinks she's a psychopath. Look at her eyes. Do you see anything going on behind there? Or do they just sort of look blank? Oh, it's terrible attitude, critters. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, Vicky, I'm gonna tell you, these interviews with her, I'm being a gray rock quite a bit because she's triggery. Am I right? She's the kind of person, the way she lies and the way she manipulates and gaslights, you're just aghast because it's so obvious. She's not even good at it, right? There's no panache. It's she's just cold and says the most absurd comments. It's just absurd, the things that she's saying. But again, right, T, please look at her eyes right there. Most people, when caught in a lie of this caliber, like this level, most people caught in a lie of this caliber would have some panic going on. I'm sorry. So I read somebody said flat affect. I don't see who said it, but somebody did. I saw. Oh, Sandra. Yeah, that's fairly flat, isn't it? For that moment in the interview, there should have been a great deal of panic. There's nothing there, and it's really standing out. There's also that lift of her chin, that defiance, like, go ahead, accuse me of being a liar. I'll eat you for lunch, right? She's, golly. So get ready, because I think they're going to come back. I think they're going to sue her again. I think Camille is already on it.
Says she still plans to honor that pledge.
How do you see your future now?
I get to be a mom,
What future?
like full time, where I'm not having to juggle calls with lawyers.
One day you may want to tell.
You know what I'd like to ask Amber? I'd like to ask Amber, who's going to be calling? Like, who will be calling you now? What do you think is the capacity left for any director or producer that will say, oh yeah, I remember Amber. Yeah, she got into a little bit of a problem, didn't she? Yeah, I remember that. Seemed like she was sorry though. It seems like maybe she just, maybe got overly emotional, made some bad choices. But it's been a couple of years, she's been laying pretty low. Haven't seen much of her. Maybe I ought to give her another try. She's a beautiful woman. She might really be an asset. And up until her having all these problems, we probably never would have been able to afford her. But now maybe she might be interested. Maybe we should give her a talk and see if she's ready to try again. Maybe we could do that. That call, Amber, is never coming after this interview. That what I just acted out is not ever happening again. Because people are watching this. I'm talking about producer people, director people. People are watching this and they're thinking, wow, this is kind of crazy. I don't think I've ever seen. Right.
Tell your daughter about this, or have to tell your daughter about everything that you've gone through. What would you want to say?
I think no matter what, it will mean something. I did the right thing.
What'd you do? I don't know what she's talking about there. Do y'all? When she says, oh, I did the right thing. Can somebody explain to me what she did? Hi, Lean Bean. Or that she's in a mental institution. I think her next venture is to try to be a lawyer. Oh my God, Trixie. Perish that thought. She may be mentally ill, but that does in no way remove her from the destruction she caused Johnny and countless others, including movie corporations. She gets paid for the baby pictures. Now there is a sobering thought, Allison. Not one that I recognize that I use humor in uncomfortable situations. That where kids are concerned, I can't go there. The idea that someone is paying her for baby pictures, it's chilling to my heart. Chilling. I hope there's a lot of nannies, and that's all I'm going to say. She thinks she's giving her star performance, and no one believes her. No one has believed her, Mississippi Mud Pie. So I had this interesting experience, Mud Pie. I am The Stand, the novel by Stephen King from the 80s. I'm a fanatic, right? Like I have a t-shirt that's got The Stand, Captain Trips. It came out that she was in The Stand. Now this was when the trial was going on. And I was like, no, she's not. And I own the first miniseries that came out years and years and years ago, and then this newest miniseries. And I got to tell you, the older one is hands down 100% better than the new one. But nevertheless, so I thought, what do you mean she's in The Stand? I don't remember that. So sure enough, I watched it one night, a couple of the episodes, and I finally found, and she's Nadine in the movie. And I was like, oh my God, that's Nadine. And I remember thinking when the series first came out, I was really excited to see what they were going to do with the Nadine character. She is in the book, she is she's the turning point for evil. Like it all rests in her hands, the future of the evil empire, right? That if she survives and she gives birth, then evil wins. But if she perishes and there is no, devil's baby, then that's, he's weakened. And the critical turn on that was that all of the people that he was ruling with fear and domination, they would see that he was not all knowing. They would see that there were in fact limits to his power and his ability to see. And then he would lose many, many, many of his people, because that's the nature of governing by fear is, the Punisher has to be in the room for the power to be there. So Nadine, when Stephen King wrote this book, The Stand, Nadine's character, even though there's a lot of primary characters in this movie, or in the book, there's lots of them, and each one is carrying a lesson about civilization. And Nadine's character is, she's critical. Like you can't have the rest of the story without Nadine. The final resolution of this enormous epic story on good versus evil, it all hinges on Nadine. She is critical in the story. And I remember watching the new series, and I remember thinking, damn, they kind of, neutered Nadine. Like her character is nothing. Like I remember having that thought, and I remember thinking, wonder why they did that. But they did a lot of things that I didn't care for. I mean, they made Franny more. They made Franny a primary, and in truth, when you read the book, Franny really wasn't integral to the ultimate struggle of good versus evil. I mean, she was sacrificial, and I guess she kind of took on the Madonna role, but really nothing even close to Nadine. Nadine was it in terms of, second to Mother Abigail. But anyway, I remember being disappointed, but in no way did I remember at all that was Amber Heard that played Nadine. And so when I went back and I looked at it to see what do you mean she was in The Stand? And I saw that she was the one who destroyed Nadine's character. I was like, damn, I hate you, Amber, again. Okay. So she did. Yeah. So she did. She is in it, and she's awful. She's awful. Her character, she destroyed the character of Nadine by neutering Nadine. She turned Nadine into this weak, just a complete lack of substance, no internal emotion, no kind of conflict. Like when you watch it, you don't see the internal conflict of good versus evil. And that's what you're supposed to see with Nadine. You're supposed to see Nadine being a very good person who, through no fault of her own in her childhood, had a weakness implanted in her that left her open and vulnerable to seduction, right? That her loneliness and her ultimate desire for love actually left her open to all of the evils in the world. I mean, so for this character, the push pull should be powerful. Like she should be really, really struggling internally with what's good or not. You don't see any of that struggle. None. It's the weirdest thing when I go back and I watch it now and I know who she is, and it's just weird. Like when I know what she's supposed to be like, and then I see what I see, she just seems like a babysitter. I mean, that's kind of the level of significance that she had. It's terrible. So, oh my gosh, I don't want to like be personally insultive of Amber, but let's be. I think it's fair to comment on the slander and the attacks on Johnny Depp's character when he had so much true evidence. He even used her evidence to reflect that she was lying. Camille and Ben Chu used Amber's own words and her own documents and her own recordings and her own witnesses to prove that they were liars. But she just doesn't see it, does she? She literally thinks that no one sees truth. She thinks that all she has to do is lie, and everybody's going to go, oh, okay, thank you, Amber. Thank you for telling us that. No, we have learned what comes out of this girl's mouth has a fleeting relationship with the truth. So you better go with what you can hear and what you can see with your own eyes.
Did everything I could to stand up for myself and the truth.
Heard and Depp's volatile relationship lasted just 4 years. Depp confirming his engagement to me on Today in 2014.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you excited?
Yeah, very. She's a wonderful girl. She's sharp as a tack,
Okay, you see him here? Fast forward to the way he looked when they broke up. When it all came out, when they were filming Pirates of the Caribbean, he cut his finger off, came back to the United States. He looked like he was dying. His skin, the man aged 30 years in the 4 years with her. You see him right here? He's healthy. 4 years later, he looks like he's on death's door.
wonderful, Southern belle. And,
she's no Southern
be,
belle. That's silly.
And very good for me.
On the first day of the trial, you issued a statement, and part of the statement said, I still have love for Johnny.
Yes.
Is that still true?
Yes.
After everything?
Absolutely.
Who believes that? Okay, so she's claiming that. Hold on, let me see if somebody's here. No, nobody's here. I don't know why those dogs are barking. Okay. Um so I want you guys to think back to the worst relationship that you've ever had. Okay? Worst relationship you've ever had. Not your current relationship, but from the time you're a teenager forward, of all the dating, the worst relationship that you've had. If you broke up with the guy or the girl, and it was amicable and everybody was polite, then if somebody asked you today, oh, you remember when you were dating Joe? Do you still kind of remember some of the fun things you did together? It seemed like he was a good guy. Well, then you probably would smile and go, oh yeah, we did. We had a good time. Things just didn't work out for us. It was fine. Right? Now think back to like the best relationship that you've ever had. And imagine that person, the best relationship that you've ever had, they take a bottle and RAPE you, and then you get your feet all cut up and your arms all cut up as you try to go up to bed. Now, fast forward to today, and somebody says, hey, you remember when you were going with old Johnny? You remember the guy that RAPE you with the bottle? Oh, I do. Gosh, I loved him so much. I did. I was all in. My heart soared with joy. I loved him. But if somebody takes objects and inserts them against your will, and they slap your head, and they cut your feet, it's just it's a toxic relationship, and you just have to get out of it. But gosh, we had some really great times together. He's a really good guy. Not realistic. Am I right or not? It's not realistic. No. If he did that, she would not still love him. Are we in agreement? If you agree that it would be impossible to love the person that RAPE you with a bottle of whiskey, put a 1. If you think that your love is so profound that you can actually overlook a little thing like RAPE by a bottle of whiskey, then put a 2. I'm just curious. Is there anyone listening right now that could say, oh no, that was fine. He was just having a bad day, Jules. It's okay. He had a bad day. He acted out a little. And then, she slept it off. And then everything was fine. I don't know why you're making this a big deal, Jules. It's not a big deal. Yes, it is a big deal. It's a big deal to have a man grab you around your throat and throw you up on top of a bar and hold you down by your throat. That's kind of a big deal. It's a big deal to have a man hold you by your throat up against a wall and slam a Bakelite telephone within inches of your skull and do it over and over and over again until the phone disappears from existence. That would be a big deal. These are the sorts of things that we would say are a deal breaker. They make the love feeling go away, and they make the hate feeling find expression. It's the nature of survival and self-preservation. So look at her face right here where it is. She literally just said, Laura says, I was abused, not severely abused as she has claimed, but I hate my ex. Absolutely hate. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for saying just rational human experience. You're exactly right. When someone puts your life in danger because they're having a temper tantrum, hate replaces love. I'm with you. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you something else too. I think this is Amber Heard that's leaving porno in our chat. Block user. Nasty. Y'all are bad people. Okay. So look at her face right there. Okay, we're going to go back to this whole question. Is there anything going on behind her blue eyes? Okay. She's just said to Savannah Guthrie, I love Johnny Depp. I still love Johnny Depp. I love Johnny with all my heart. I love him. Okay, what emotion right now is she sending to Savannah? Any guesses? Phoebe had the same thing. She loved someone, he abused her, she hated him. It is an age-old story, Phoebe, and it's normal. It's 100% normal because it is about self-preservation and survival, right? If he actually did what she accused him of, he'd already be serving time in federal prison. Thank you, DB. You are exactly correct. My ex became a monster after we married. No way I had any positive feelings for him. See? I'm telling you. I see my abuser in Walmart 4 years after the abuse. Ugh, I'm so sorry, Team Doocy Doo. I left Walmart, basket and all. See, that is the normal response. Self-preservation, survival. Not that he was going to do anything in Walmart in front of everybody, but when you're talking about saving your life, you're not having those types of thoughts. You saw a dangerous animal, and your brain said, we've got to be safe. Retreat. Get your butt in your car and get out of here before he sees you, right? I was so severely abused. I hate my ex to the point it makes me sick to my stomach just to hear his name. I have 2 children by him, and when they say his name, I feel my skin crawl. I'm so sorry, Alta. I'm so sorry. I had somebody say one time, similar to what you're saying. They said, and they were very emotional. It was about this whole problem with abuse and having children, you know, and the thing that she was commenting on was that, you know, she's got these adorable children that were her, you know, the center of her life. She would lay her life down to protect them. And then she had, you know, took a lot of work for her to get out of this horribly abusive situation and to safety. And she was talking about the internal struggle that she had because here were these 2 little humans that she was so in love with and so dedicated to and to protect at all cost. And they looked like little, you know, copies of her monster. And so on the one hand, you know, she, no matter that she always loved them, she was 100% committed, but always there was this cognitive dissonance happening because they looked so similar to him and his family. They were kind of one of these families where everybody sort of has the same genes. So the face is like a copycat on top of every member of the family. They all look alike. You've seen these families before. It's kind of weird the way it happens, but you know, she said that was actually something that was really hard. It was causing her a lot of pain that she couldn't move past how his memory was always front and center because the kids were such copies of him physiologically, the way they looked, not in the behaviors, but the way that they looked. So yeah, you know, that's the real story of trauma and abuse, right, Alta? The trauma memories that occur that are just like these rapid fire triggers, and there's no off ramp. It's just you get the trigger and then you're back in that moment of trauma, and there's no control in it. It takes a lot of work to loosen those trigger memories and to put some on ramps, attach some on ramps to those memories. But not for Amber. Amber just takes it like a champ. I mean, she is a champion. Get RAPE by a bottle, and then get up the next morning and say, "Oh, honey, have you slept? Let me make you some coffee. Would you like some oatmeal and toast? I think it would make you feel so much better, Tweety. Amber, you just said that this man took a bottle and did horrible things. And now you want us to believe that you're offering to cook him breakfast the next morning? Not true, is it? It's not true. That it's not. We have in our channel, we have, you feel duped when you give your heart and soul to someone who abuses you. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Kennedy family has that look. Yes, that's a good example, Critters. Absolutely. And that's the other part of it too. We have a lot of victims of abuse or survivors of abuse in our community. And some of us, it's been 20 years since we faced our monster. Some of it's been 30 days, but it's offensive for people that really face these monsters and they found their safety. They were able to get out and save their lives. It's offensive for her to use this as a tool to just inflict her abuse. I mean, she's just, if you look at any publication that talks about domestic abuse where the man is violent to the woman, she is exactly what those books describe as the abuser. Her games that she has played, and these are not things people gossiping about her. These were documents and recordings that were submitted in a court of law as evidence. Take a good look, y'all. Take a good Hedy Lamar. Hi. Yeah. Have you heard the song? It's a great song. It's a great song. Okay, so so everybody loves Dr. Ramani, and everybody goes and listens to videos about narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships. And it's one thing to talk about what narcissistic personality disorder or antisocial personality disorder or borderline. If I say borderline, again, I'm talking about the top 3%. I'm talking about people that are crippled because the level of their symptomology is so big. Okay. Please don't take this personally. I'm not talking about the average, person walking around. I'm talking about the really, really, difficult cases. It's one thing to sit and talk about it. It's one thing to point and say, "Oh yes, my boyfriend was definitely narcissistic. Definitely. He did this and he did that." But when you see it in action, notice that it sort of makes you aghast, right? You listen to her. Look at her face right now. Can anyone tell me what that emotion is? No, you can't tell me what that emotion is because she doesn't know what that emotion is. She's just trying to put out this face that will convince Savannah Guthrie that she should be pitied because she has love for Johnny. And oh, doesn't that make Amber a great gal? That's what the emotion is that her face is showing. However, in the world of normal people, that isn't an emotion. She has no idea that's not an emotion. She is manipulating Savannah. Oh, well, let me say it. She's trying to manipulate Savannah. I don't think she did. I think Savannah's got her number, if you know what I mean. So that's why when we look at her face, this is right after she says, "Oh, I love Johnny." That's no emotion. That is no emotion right there. It's nothing. It's a vague, a suggestion at sadness. It's a suggestion at anticipation. There's a suggestion of curiosity. There's just a hint of anger. It's just a question, isn't it? I mean, if you really stare at her face for very long, it's quizzical. Do you think she looks like do you think she's looking at Savannah and asking herself, is she buying this? Is Savannah believing me? What do y'all think that is? I'm not going to talk for a second. I want to read and see what y'all think this emotion is that's on her face. She has just said that she loves Johnny Depp. Bewildered? That she looks bewildered to me. Yes, DB. This is the hoovering look. So she's trying to suck Johnny Depp back into the madness. Suzanne, do you think, this question for Suzanne Fernandez, do you think that's why she did this interview? Do you think she's speaking? Do you think she's speaking to Johnny Depp, that she's trying to convince him that he should get in touch with her? That's right, DB. Right, because he was the victim. She was the controller. Oh, see, I'm with you, Laura. She's not feeling love. She's not feeling love. Hetty was an actress. They ran out of Hollywood because of lies, is what I gathered from the song. Snicker says, I just call bullshit. I don't know what she's thinking or doing, but I just say it's all bullshit. The dark blush high up, and she continues to wear her TRO dress and loving an alleged abuser. This lady is clearly not well. Lee, thank you. I would be on your team, Lee. I think you're right. Thank you for bringing up the restraining order dress. That's her armor. That's her suit of armor. Would you agree? She's in some interview that I saw, she said, the black dress, the one that she wore when she got the TRO, and then the day of the verdict for the Sun trial, she said, I decided it would be really appropriate for me to wear this today, and it was good luck. And then I thought that it was in very poor taste when she came into the courtroom wearing it on verdict day. I thought it was obscene. I thought it was obscene. I would also be willing to bet that the dress doesn't exist any longer. I think she probably burned it and danced around naked, in the full moon before cutting the head off a live chicken. So yeah, I think she wants him back. That's kind of where I'm at. Hedy Lamar is having a great time being Hedy Lamar. Hey, paranormal. And there you go with the mommy dearest brows. My jaw hit the ground when I saw him. I thought, man, you heifer. You know damn well what you're doing. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. Did you notice how in the restraining order video, how she was purposefully looking up and out toward the crowd and cameras? That has bothered me. Well, yeah, but Laura, I think that's because she knew that TMZ was trying to get the proper angle for the photograph. So she's turning, looking off to the left and looking up, which gives them the, perfect view of the pimple on her cheek. When I've been in that situation like this, he said to me, if you don't know I love you, then you will never know. Just to get back to continue the relationship. Hoovering, right, Vicki? Being a hoover, vacuum cleaner, sucking you back into the madness. It's part of the abuse cycle. Absolutely. I think she's not accepting that no matter what she tries. Oh, Johnny's done. Johnny Depp, okay, I am not going to imitate Elaine pretending to be Johnny Depp because, that too was obscene. It wasn't obscene. It was funny. But it's what's not funny. I'll tell you what's not funny about that. If you go to that part of the audio recording where he's saying to her, don't take my glasses off. And she said, I want to see your eyes. I want to see your eyes. And he's like, get away. No, you're not going to see my eyes. Get away from me. Get away. You're not ever going to look at me in the eye again. Okay, Elaine makes a joke of that. She belittles a victim of domestic violence. Oh, you'll never see my eyes again. That was belittling a domestic abuse survivor. When you listen to that audio, he is traumatized. He is fighting for his life. He wants her gone. And she is manipulating. Do you feel sorry for Elaine? Is that right, Eden? Oh, I definitely got the Joan Crawford vibe. Yes. I saw a lot of people going, oh my God, it's Mommy Dearest. I think she did too, Snickers. I'm waiting for Eden's response. You feel sorry for Elaine or you feel sorry for Amber? Sure, DB. I don't know that I don't know. Maybe it could be hate. No, I think she's most comfortable. Her primary relationships, I think, have been women. But notice the men she's been with. She's not really concerning herself with low paying men. I mean, she's got a trillionaire with autism. Well, I can't say he's got autism, but she's got a trillionaire who's a bit socially awkward. And then she's got Johnny Depp, who was very shy and pretty socially awkward. Was that her MO? Is that her way of using her beauty and her manipulative powers to seduce a man into a relationship that she could then walk away with a couple of cool million? It looks like that was her MO. Until she decided, to mess with a pirate. You feel sorry for Amber. Okay. I don't, man. I don't feel sorry for her. And I think the reason that I don't feel sorry for her is because she's not there. She just seems so plastic and fake. And I think Elaine is a snake in the grass. Suzanne? Yes, ma'am. I am on the Suzanne bandwagon. She seems as manipulative as Amber, doesn't she? Stop the madness, Vicky. We're losing IQ points with each new Amber interview. We got to stop the madness. Yeah, Vicky, you are in trouble, honey. You are in deep, deep trouble. You want to know why? Because tomorrow is Thursday. That's day 4 of the personal destruction of Amber's career. But then on Friday, we're going to get dinosaur level piles of horse manure. It's going to be so. Friday night interview with Amber is going to be so crazy. Vicky may need to have a personal helper when it's over. She may have lost the last IQ point she's got. She may have to hire someone to feed her morning oatmeal after Amber's Friday night dinosaur level pile of horse manure. Well, apparently Amber drinks 2 bottles of wine every night, which I think that would probably age her quite a bit, right? She has reaped what she has sown. Karma is a bitch. We will see the anger on Friday. You think so? Learned a lot? You think Savannah held back the best? Is that the way this is going to go? Like, so you think Savannah's listening to all this YouTube chatter and she's just chuckling and she's going, you guys hadn't seen nothing yet. You think Savannah's sitting on a gold mine? Welcome back, Sassy. FCS may be watching. FCS. What is FCS? FCS. I don't know what FCS is. In a spiritual way, I do feel sorry for Amber. I really believe in karma, so I'm praying for her, and I think she is pissed off. You know, I'm about to lose my good humor where the little creepazoids are concerned. Little creepazoids, go away. Go to Foodie Beauty's channel. Block user. Man. All right. When did she have those cheek implants done? Oh, I don't know, Phoebe. Family and Children's Services. Oh, I hope they're watching, Sassy. I do. I hope they're watching. Well, we are having a hard time blocking them. Okay, I think they're gone now. Okay. All right. So, uh-oh. Why is that? I better take that off of there. Lordy. I was not paying attention there, was I? My deepest apologies, you guys. I am sorry about my oversight there. That was embarrassing. She drinks 2 bottles of wine a day, prescription drugs, Provigil, Xanax, sleeping pills, pot, shrooms, and designer drugs. But Johnny has the problem. Well, I mean, she was in the Adderall diaries, right? Hope she doesn't have Munchausen. Oh my God, Barbara, perish that thought, please. Oh, that scares me so bad. I only have 1 mod. Wow. That's hard to believe. Eden, I could go for this. Okay. So there you have it. Day 3 of this train wreck driven by Amber as she embarks on this journey to destroy any chance of professional rehabilitation of her reputation or her image. She's putting the nail in the coffin of her career. If you agree, put a 1. If you disagree, if you think that she has plenty of chances to come back and be the comeback kid, put a 2. I'm just curious. She's losing her looks due to a bad heart. Does she have a bad heart, Lee RD? Or maybe this is like, what is that book? Oh my gosh, what's the book? It's a classic. The Mirror in the Attic, where he loses his, oh my gosh, what's it called? Oh well, I can't remember. All right, Sundown Farms. Okay, so most of us, 10 Faces of Eve, not 3 faces, just 10 now. No, the name of it's right on the tip of my tongue. I hate when I do that. They find the guy finds the mirror up in the attic, and as each of the painting, not the mirror, the painting, and as he is more beautiful, and the picture shows like all of his sins, the picture's visage changes. No, not Flowers in the Attic. Dorian Gray. Thank you, Jade. You are forever my hero. Thank you. Jade, question. Is this a bit like Dorian Gray? Is it possible that we're seeing her internal conflict change her outward countenance? Is that possible? What's your opinion? You obviously know the book, the literature. Okay, so for those of you that may not know what the Picture of Dorian Gray is, okay, so it's a book written by Oscar Wilde, or a short novel written by Oscar Wilde in the 1890s. It was first published in Lippincott's Monthly magazine. The story revolves around a portrait of Dorian Gray that was painted by Basil Hallward, who was a friend of Dorian's, and he was an artist infatuated with Dorian's beauty. So Dorian meets Lord Henry Wotton, and is soon enthralled by the aristocrat's hedonistic worldview, that beauty and sensual fulfillment are the only things worth pursuing in life. Newly understanding that his beauty will someday fade, Dorian expresses the desire to sell his soul to ensure that the picture, rather than he, will age and fade. The wish is granted, and Dorian pursues a libertine life of varied amoral experiences while staying young and beautiful all the while. His portrait ages and visually records every one of Dorian's sins. Wilde's only novel, it was subject to much controversy and criticism in its time, but it has come to be recognized as a classic of Gothic literature. And it, yeah, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Otherwise, it'll be another 2-hour conversation. Jade, thank you so much. I'm getting old, Jade, and sometimes things that I used to know quickly and very well, it just won't come. So I thank you for that. I appreciate it. And if you guys have not read The Portrait of Dorian Gray, you should. It's a really, really great, even though it was written, a long time ago. It's such a it's really contemporary. The problem or the concept is quite contemporary. And I often think about, for some reason, well, I said I wasn't going to get into all this because then the video gets longer and longer. I'm just going to stand back and say, yes, please. If you haven't read Portrait of Dorian Gray, I wish you would. It's not that long. It is absolutely worth the time. It has contemporary relevance, even though it was written, a period piece the turn of the century. But again, it still gets back to this struggle that I love so much in my literature and my movies. I love this portrayal of this conflict that people experience as you're basically good, but then these evil forces stand in your way at different points in your life, and the choices that you make at any given time can ultimately change your destiny, right? And I know that defies the definition of destiny, but so I love, and I think that that's true from a micro level when you're talking about the individual day-to-day living, all the way up to a macro level of world powers and governments. I think we're all experiencing the same thing, and it's this age-old battle of good versus evil, and the complication, the number of pieces that move that will ultimately determine the output. It's not that the one thing you choose to do will determine the survival of goodness overall, but that you're one small piece, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, that leads to another good act and another good act that hopefully will all culminate in the success of good over evil. But anyway, so those are kind of those are the stories and stuff that stick with me that have that theme, so Dorian Gray and The Stand kind of represent the same, basic battle. Don't look into her eyes or you'll turn into what? Medusa. All right. Never might listen to the audio. You can listen to the audio. It's a great. Oh, they made a movie. Okay, so Critter says that there's a movie. Is it a black and white movie? Or is it a newer? I've never seen such a blank look on someone's face. Right. See, Diane, I've stopped it multiple times, and there's just nothing there, is it? She could be a mannequin. Thank you, Lady Rebel. Thank you so much. I hope we don't hear all the same things on Friday night that she said all week. That's a possibility, Sassy. Or it could be that Savannah was just blown away by all the crazy things that she said, and they filled up the 1 hour slot, and there was still so much crazy left to say. They decided to leak a little bit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That sounds more likely to me. Trust me, this is not a girl that's going to get tired of talking and saying dumb things. I think she is a psycho. Oh, you know what? I hate kindergartners. Okay. I remember the old movie. It's great. I'll have to look it up, Barbara Edie. You're welcome. Been here listening. Thank you, Lady Rebel. That's what I thought. She looks like a mannequin. She does. And in this clip, right where I stopped, she had just proclaimed her undying love for Johnny Depp. So the whole world hears that. The women think, wait a minute, you remember the whiskey bottle that you claimed? How is it possible you continue to feel love after a whiskey bottle? No, it's BS. It's not true. And she just looks like she's been MK Ultra'd, doesn't she? She just looks like nothing there. Lights on, no one's home. Eden, I am refusing to watch anything with this woman in it. Anything. But I'm watching Johnny Depp every night. Something new every night. And can I just say, I have 100% enjoyed rewatching all of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I actually had forgotten how much I loved Captain Jack Sparrow. I own them all. I have all the movies, but I just haven't watched them in a decade or more. And so I've had a lot of fun watching them. And I watched Alice in Wonderland, or I guess Hatter, the Mad Hatter. Forgot how much I loved that. Well, of course, I watched Ninth Gate and Secret Window, but I watch those all the time. Those are some of my favorite movies. Yeah, I'm not impressed either, Eden. Johnny said, "You do not exist. You are someone I made up in my head." Allison, thank you for reminding me of that. And you said that, I think, word for word, perfect, what he said. But thank you for saying that. Here's why. So when Johnny Depp said, "You do not exist. You are just someone I made up in my head," you would not believe how many people, as they go through healing from these domestic violence situations, you wouldn't believe how many of them finally reach this point of epiphany where they think, I couldn't leave because of the good times, but because of the good times were so great. And I was convinced if I did it right, then the bad times would never come. And I believed that I was with this person who was larger than life and perfect and so beautiful and so loving and so passionate and such a great career. They had everything is built up into magnificence. Even the violence is magnificent, right? Instead of just a normal, healthy, everyday, regular life. And when they finally say, if I stay in this relationship, I'm going to die. Like, this guy is going to kill me if I stay in this relationship. And they finally fight and get away to safety. And then they kind of go through this like detox or, deprogramming period of time. And then they all get to this point of realization, this grand epiphany, and they realize, you know what? The guy that I was married to never existed. He doesn't exist today. He doesn't live anywhere except in my imagination. I built up this love in my mind, and then I projected it onto this guy that was there offering whatever he was offering. And from that day forward, I was having a relationship with this image in my head, and I wouldn't allow myself to see the reality of the man that was brutalizing me. Now that's profound. That is profound. And when I heard on the audio Johnny Depp say those words, I literally got chills. And I said, those are the words of an abuse survivor. He, without him even knowing what he was saying, he said the words. And when you hear it, that concept come out of someone's mouth, you recognize it. And those of you that were in here, Alto was in here a while ago, some other people, those of you that went through abuse, you found your independence, you found your safety. Do you remember that realization where the separation occurred and you could finally see the abuser for who they were? Not love, not, special, just a nobody, just a nothing, just a horribly flawed human being that was having temper tantrums and taking it out on you. Do you remember that that moment? Hey, General Places. Do you remember that moment? Yeah. So when I heard Johnny Depp say that she never existed, who was in his mind, she never existed. Those were the words of an abuse survivor. Those were the words of a person that had been systematically convinced not to believe their own thoughts. Yep. Often narcissistic people mirror you, so you actually fall in love with yourself. And see, I don't think, see my tutu, I don't think she has that ability. I think she's so affected. I don't think she mirrors people. I think she is, in her mind, she believes that she's Princess Diana, that she's this larger than life special person, and everybody just believes her. Doesn't matter how outrageous her words. I don't see her really mirroring, right? I took the blame and changed my personality till I did not exist, all to please him. Then realized that the problem wasn't mine. Exactly, Snickers. Yep. It's like they're all reading out the same playbook, you know. But when you get away and you're getting healthy and you deprogram, you feel it, you recognize, no, that the person that I believed I was in a relationship with, they never existed. They were a figment of my imagination. I also like when he told her that she has all of the people fooled, but he knows the real her. The mask slips further, but he paid for it. Yeah, no, I know, Vicky. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Yeah, her acting is really bad. It's really bad, Bebop. Yeah, it's bad. That Nadine role that I was talking about earlier, that's a profound character in literary works. She had an opportunity, a character that was written in such a way that was so complicated and had such depth. All she had to do was just follow what Stephen King wrote, right? That's all she had to do. Just read the book and get to know Nadine as Stephen King meant for that character to be, and just act it out. That's all she had to do. And she couldn't even do that. She comes across as Nadine. She just comes across as like the babysitter, a nothing, just no depth of character, just someone who comes in and says, "Thank you, we had a really good night, sir. Goodbye." It's just inconsequential. Does anyone think she acted out a version of Gone Girl? Sure, I can see parallels. Yep. The other one, more than Gone Girl, I think of The Natural. Do y'all know that movie, The Natural, with Robert Redford? Anybody seen The Natural with Robert Redford? You know what, Eden? I didn't remember her from The Stand. So no, I didn't remember her from the Pineapple Express. I can't believe nobody knows the movie The Natural. Yes, a baseball movie. Yes, Yvette, thank you. One of us knows. Okay. So you guys watched The Natural. I think for a while it was on Prime and you didn't have to pay for it. It was just one of the, free movies with Prime. watch the Natural, and then see if you can see Amber taking inspiration. Me too, Hazel. Yeah, I love baseball movies. Yeah. One of my favorite movies of all time is For Love of the Game. What do you think, Hazel? So you really know the movie, The Natural. Can you see that Amber could have taken some inspiration from The Natural? The lady, remember the lady that seduces him and shoots him? That gives her a sense of importance because she's able to bring down a powerful, a really special person. Remember? And she stole a lot of movie quotes. Yeah. What was the baseball movie with Kevin Costner? Love of the Game. Well, he was in several. He was in Love of the Game. He was in Bull Durham. He was in. Seems like he did another baseball name. There's no crying in baseball. Are you crying? I do watch. Field of Dreams is such a great movie. Oh my God, it's such a great movie. Yeah, that was the third one. I knew there was another one. So he was in Bull Durham, Love of the Game, Field of Dreams. Was there another baseball movie? He obviously likes baseball. Was there another baseball movie with Kevin Costner? I think that's all. I don't think so either, Hazel. I'm 100% with you on that. Field of Dreams was one of my favorite movies ever. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really great movie. I often make jokes, build it and they will come. Oh, Yvette and I said it at the same time. So many quotes she stole from movies in her testimony. Until My Dying Day, a song from Moulin Rouge. Until My Dying Day. I can't remember the song. She is aging, Marilyn. We're kind of talking about that. I think this interview is gonna finish any chance she has of a comeback. Fastball critters. I'm glad you remembered. I feel ashamed that I forgot about Fastball. Great movie, right? That's where they did the statistics. No big stars on the team. That's a great movie. Damn, that's a good movie. But was that Kevin Costner? That wasn't Kevin Costner. That wasn't that Brad Pitt. Yes, Tom Hanks says, "Are you crying? No crying." I think her end game was going to be. Yeah, me too, Freudian. I am very comfortable with that possibility that that's what she was thinking. The Upside of Anger and The Postman. She looks better without makeup. Well, no, I think she looked better before she got those bizarre cheek implants, right? That's what it is. I've learned a lot. I think she's so convinced, and this would be common with histrionic PD. I think she's so convinced she has spent her life being able to lie, and people would believe her. She would lie, and people let her off the hook. And I think she literally believes that, she can just say whatever she wants and everybody's going to believe her. Histrionic personality disorder is very often associated with highly permissive parenting. I wonder if Johnny bought her new boobie. Well, I don't know, but that is very personal. Who said that? Who said that? Eden. Shame on you. No, I'm kidding. My hubby said the same thing about her implants when we watched Rum Diaries. Self-mid-controlled. Would be good to hear from her ex-lovers and see what they had to say. Thank God he didn't put her in his will. That probably saved his life. And Bebop, it does seem like that's what they were fighting about at the end, doesn't it? Oh, she is fruitier than Grandma's fruitcake. Yeah, Fastball is a great movie. I want to know what couch is. Couch. I think he had been sitting down, and I think he had had enough, and he got up to leave. And I think she was pointing at the couch and screaming couch, as an order to sit back down. Now, I think it's exactly what it sounded like. The pattern of the bruising on a couple of those photographs, they did look like filler, like the bruising that comes from filler. And the reason that I would know that, Suzanne, is because I too once paid an exorbitant amount of money to have filler and Botox. It was a gift from my husband at my request. He said, "What would you like for your anniversary?" And I said, "I think I want to delve into the wonderful world of beautiful pain." Notice I haven't done it again. It looked pretty. I was happy with the results. I was really happy with the results. I felt like it made me look different. It just made me look like myself because I'm aging and everything's sort of, gravity is taking its toll. And so my cheeks are not up where they used to be. They're kind of going lower to my, my jaw. And so I really liked it because it just slightly lifted everything. So I loved it. I thought it was great. It was incredibly painful. I bruised horribly, and I haven't done it again. So, there you have it. I told my husband, I think if I ever decide I want to do something like that again, I'm probably just going to do a facelift. Because it hurt. And it hurt for a long time because you're sitting there and they're just sticking a needle all over your face, like 50 times. You get a needle stuck in your head and you're just like smiling through it going, no, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Human pin cushion. So I don't know. I at least if you got a facelift, it'd be more permanent, long lasting. You get to take work off, get pain medication so it doesn't hurt. There's some pluses, there's some upsides. So no, don't let anybody fool you. The fillers and it's a lot. It stings. It hurts pretty bad. No, she's definitely had weird implants on her cheeks, and then the way she does her makeup, she's not smoothing it, right? She's using the contouring, which is making her look, I think she looks a bit like a fish. Do y'all think do those look like gills? I think she looks like a human fish. If I want needles, I'll get a tattoo. There you go, Angela, right? Oh my gosh. Phoebe, okay, so Phoebe too knows the experience of beautiful pain. You know what I mean, Phoebe? You're kind of sitting there going, okay, surely you're not going to stick me again. And they always find another place to put just a little bit more. Oh, I've learned a lot. I didn't make that connection. So maybe they did it on purpose to make her look like Aquawoman. Maybe it was supposed to look like a fish. Very, very astute. I am quite proud of you for making that connection. And you are a member of our community. We are the smartest community, aren't we? We are. Yeah, she does a line of really white highlighter and then really dark blush, and she doesn't blend it. And so it makes, it makes it really pronounced. And you know what? I don't think it's nose hairs, Eden. I think she's having bloody nose problems. I wonder what that could be from. Inquiring minds want to know. If you want to hang out, do cocaine. She's so fine, she's so fine, she's so fine. Cocaine. She looks like Maleficent with the cheekbones. Hey, I'm loving Maleficent, okay? Maleficent's my girl. I don't want to think about Amber being Maleficent. Maleficent is she's stands on her own. I don't know though. I also like Ursula. Who loves Ursula? Do y'all know who Ursula is? Amber and Mr. Toad would make one hell of a couple. Yes, they would, Jerry. They deserve each other. They deserve each other. These poor unfortunate souls. The Emika cream is the one I love. It's clear stuff, gel or cream. The other one I like is the muffins. The muffins were hilarious. It was hysterical. No, the muffins were great. And can I say Dr. Curry is my hero? I love when she says, can we stop talking about the muffins? She did. She made Elaine look pretty bad. Flotsam, jetsam, boys, we got 'em. The boss is on a roll. These poor unfortunate souls. With all her makeup, you'd think she could blend, but no, because she's a standout no matter what, even if she looks like a damn carp fish. Amber, blend your makeup, chickie. Where is Rotten Bottom? I have no idea. I think they're from, aren't they from Los Angeles? I think he lives in Los Angeles. Who was tipping her off to wear some things as Johnny? That was bizarre. No, I think she does that kind of thing all by herself, happy-go-lucky. Which Disney villain are you? Ooh, that's a good game. Which Disney villain would you be? I don't know. There's so many ones to choose from. Which Disney villain are you? Oh, Eden, you're too sweet. Thank you. Yeah, now Rottenborn has done it the right way. Yeah? He said, hey, color me gone. I'm done with these crazy women. I just want to go back to my nice, cushy career, right? We'll never see Mr. Rottenborn again. I think he's finished. Does Amber have multiple? Do you mean, is she have dissociative identity disorder? Why does no one tell her about her makeup? Well, you're assuming they haven't. I'd be willing to bet they have. I would be willing to bet professional makeup artists have said, Amber, that doesn't really look very good. And Amber said, you're fired. Get out. Get. Don't go against me. Let me say and do whatever I want because I'm Amber. That's Ursula. Now sing. The little kindergartners are disrupting my fun. I'm trying to sing Little Mermaid, and they keep coming in here with their smut. Go away, smutty people. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? What do you think? My collection. I know, but who's sending the bots, Jerry? Who do the bots belong to? Is there more than one identity in Amber's brain? I'm going to guess yes, Butch. Sorry, don't want to be rude. I just do not like the green dress and only just now learned that she was a fish. She was a fish. She looks like a fish with her cheekbones right now. And who is the Dalmatian Mimi? Oh, that is what was her name, y'all? I kind of like her though. She has style, right? The black and white hair and the red dress. I kind of like her. Remember, Isaac Baruch was asked if she did her own makeup, and he said apparently not very well, since she has a makeup artist come to the house all the time. Yeah, I'm going to think this is not a makeup artist. Do you think a makeup artist did this? Cruella de Vil. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. I know. That's Cruella. The world was such a lovely place until Cruella de Vil. She answered questions to the jury like they were friends. Let me tell you something, happy-go-lucky. Watching her answer to the jury reminded me of Jodi Arias. It was bizarre. It was bizarre. Cruella is very stylish. I could totally get on board with Cruella, except I like puppies. So I couldn't be that villain because I like the puppies. Can't do that. So no, I'm not Cruella de Vil. Is there anybody in here that's Cruella? Amber Heard remembers, she says, we believe stuff when it's really her. She is such a D. Antoinette. It was an Arias effect. That's a very good thing to call it. She reminds me of Jodi Arias and Betty Davis. She definitely reminded me of Jodi Arias. She doesn't scare you. We like who else is a villain that we like? I really like Gaston, but that's a man. The evil stepmother. I'm definitely not Cinderella's evil stepmother either. But it's kind of like Amber and Whitney could be Cinderella's evil sisters, right? Joan Crawford, she too always had an angry, harsh look. Yeah, Donna, and remember the journalists of the time were really afraid of her because they would be doing an interview with her and she would just freak out and just attack whomever, whether it was her maid or her housekeeper or her child. She would lose it. So that was a big reason that the studios released her, because she was, oh, look, Eden loves Gaston. Eden and Gaston sitting in a tree, Kissint. Any acting she does now will be tainted with her in real life crazy persona. I think she's finished. No, Candlelight, that's sort of what I've been talking about the whole night, is this interview was her last hope. This is her future hope is the sacrificial lamb for this interview thing that she's doing with Savannah Guthrie. It was the worst possible move that she could have made. She absolutely should have just quietly given herself a 5-year vacation, let everybody move on to something else, and then start by doing like little small independent films, not trying to worry about making money, but just, rebuilding her reputation, showing that she's easy to work with. And she couldn't even do that. She's her own worst enemy. I think she's her own worst enemy. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'm Love Mary Poppins. Poppins! It's a Poppins woman, I tell you. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag. Tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag. Feed the birds, that's what they say. Tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag. All around the cathedral. It's so dumb. So dumb. So do y'all remember what my favorite Disney tune is? I have one favorite Disney tune that I love. Love, love, love. Hey, Shimmer Soul, welcome. I'm glad you're lurking, Shimmer. Stepped up to the plate, girl. Join the discussion. Never smile at a crocodile. Never tip your hat or stop to talk a while. Don't be rude. Never mock through a kiss. Not a rock. Clear the island. Never smile at Mr. Crocodile. You may very well be well bred. Y'all did not know I was multi-talented. Okay, y'all take the cotton out of your ears now. The cruel and unusual punishment is over. Scott Rice called Amber a high repetition learner. He says that her interview on Today could be seen as defamation. Scott Rice, tell him I love him. He's 100% correct. She is definitely a high repetition learner. She hasn't yet figured out that she can't say what she's saying. Even by her own characterization, she said that the trial was the most humiliating thing she'd ever been through. What would you think she would have learned from that humiliating event? Don't say things that aren't true about people, right? But she went on television with Savannah Guthrie and said exactly the same things that got her into court in the first place. It's really crazy that I said she's tone deaf. But at this point, it just looks like it's, I don't know. It's just crazy. Amber Heard, it's going to keep lying until her dying day. Oh, she scares me. I don't like hearing her talking about when I'm my dying day. I'm like, not good. Come out of your mouth. I think Savannah mentioned that she could be sued again. I think she ought to be charged with perjury, entrapment, blackmail, self-sabotage. It's got to be associated with mental illness. I'm going to say this, Lady of Angels. Welcome, by the way. It's good to see you. Remember, she had this group of friends only a few years earlier. They were all so close that they were all living together. Do y'all remember this? That's how close they were. They were all living together. And none of them speak to each other. None of them. They've all scattered to the wind. That is a big tell. That is a huge tell. Something is wrong. I would have thought the whole bottle thing would have been the most humiliating thing. Freudian slip. I'm surprised. A statement like that coming from you. How Freudian. No, you tell me, Freudian, honestly. That was so... It was such a the psychosexual implications of this story about the bottle, with the violence, and yet she claims to come downstairs and offer to cook food the next morning. It's all contrived. It's not. There's zero emotion attached to any of this. It doesn't matter if she's talking about love or if she's talking about the most obscene, violent attack ever. There's no emotion. She has no emotional connection to anything that she's saying. They were practicing witchcraft. What would make you say that, Alta? Would I kiss ass to live in a penthouse? No. I wouldn't. And they all had knives. That was quite telling, wasn't it? Oh, I'll bring them. I'll bring the knives. It was very weird. And to give somebody a knife as a gift till death, strange, really strange. I think there were too, Allison. No one, Tara. That's your answer. No one. No one gives their abuser a knife as a gift and then taunts them to death by putting till death. No one does that. No one. Did you hear Elizabeth say they had a covet? What was the covet? What was like a blood oath? In my heart, I believe she was the one who wrapped the meat in her own nightdress. After all, she was the one cooking. If the meat in the nightgown even occurred, remember, there was no evidence for that. That was just another weird thing, like, oh, my dog stepped on a bee, squint, squint. Here's what I think she was going for. The description of waking up that morning and going down the stairs and the writing on the walls and the Marilyn Manson's music playing in the background, pieces of meat that were wrapped in this ripped up nightgown, glass everywhere. You know what movie this was, right? I believe this was Helter Skelter, right? I think that she thought about the movie when they went in to kill Sharon Tate and her guest, and they spray painted a bunch of stuff on the walls, and there was crazy music as all this insanity was playing out. And I think that's what she was trying to put into the minds of the jury. I think she was trying to give this illusion that it was just so the psychedelic well, I used the phrase before, tripping balls, right? But I don't think it was Johnny Depp. I think it was her. I think she was on the psychedelics, and she was the one doing the writing on the mirror and painted her canvases brown. I think she was the one that was under those effects. And I was going to say that, Lady of Angels, but yes, interesting, right? I actually learned about that like 3 or 4 nights ago. And when I read about it, I said, there you go. That's why she wrote, call Carly. She said it better. So even though he had not written anything, the black stuff, the black writing had not said anything about you're so vain. She was addressing the fact that Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson did a cover of You're So Vain with Carly Simon, or Carly Simon's song. Yes. Very interesting, isn't it? See what a liar she is? She's such a liar. Such a damn liar. She was doing MDMA, Provigil, wine, and mix, all that. You can go crazy. Well, not to mention, what about the Adderall? She admitted to doing the Adderall. Nobody, Tara. So Tara asks a great question, says, what kind of doctor would give a client a nightgown? Especially, yeah, exactly. But listen, this is Johnny Depp, the $1 billion actor, right? This is his beautiful young wife, 20-something years younger than him. Do you honestly believe a doctor that is 20 years older than Johnny Depp is going to give a nightgown to this young wife of the man that's paying you $150,000 a month? Do you think that man is that dumb? Do you think that man would want to put that kind of income in jeopardy? It's Johnny Depp's wife, for God's sake. No, he did not give her a nightgown. It would have been highly inappropriate, and I would be willing to bet that the doctor did not give them any type of wedding gift. He did, because that's not the role. Did y'all hear her when she said, "Oh, I even invited my therapist to the engagement party"? I bet you the therapist didn't go. You know why? It's inappropriate. Dual relationships to be avoided at all costs, right? No, the whole point of the saying that the doctor gave her that nightgown was to discredit the doctor. That was one of her ways that she was going to make people look at the doctor and not try to diminish his stature. I believe that 100% in my heart. Johnny has a girlfriend in the UK named Sophie. She's 34 years. Now, are you sure they're still together? Because I had read that he had this young girlfriend and she did not like, she was having paparazzi was following her and really creating a problem. And so she actually ended up breaking up with him and going home to Spain, or maybe it was Portugal, to get some privacy. That was the last thing I had read. She wanted to look like suicide. She would rape all of his money. All of Johnny Depp's employees were professional, respectful. The doctor was making $100,000 a month. Definitely no night gown, right, DB? Absolutely not. I agree, 100%. Absolutely agree. No, she's her own worst enemy. She's proven that she does not feel compelled to tell the truth. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Cruelly Devil. All right. How are you, Michelle? Okay, everybody. How long have we been doing this? Oh my God, we're well over 2 hours. I had no idea. But we've had a great time, right? Was this fun? Did we have fun? I thought it was fun. Somebody needs to tell her to shut up. She needs a year with Jules. No one can tell her to shut up. She is not going to listen to anyone because she is the smartest little trick in shoe leather. Gone with the wind. So, Red Butler. Red, what shall become of me, Red? Where shall I go? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. I know, Tara, the red dirt of Tara. All right. Yes, we had fun, Donna Burns. It was lovely. Been off YouTube for a while, just catching up on your videos. Thank you, Lauren, and welcome back, Lauren Nicole. It's good to see you. My fave movie. I don't know what my favorite overall movie. Well, I don't know. Let me think for a second. What's my favorite movie ever? As I sit here and I try to think of my favorite movie ever, there's so many that pop in my head. And I don't know that I have some that I like specific things about, right? But would I have one that like the one movie that I would have to see again? There's so many. I got to tell you, I am a Titanic. I love the movie Titanic, James Cameron. And that's one of those movies that gets a lot of flack. A lot of people make jokes about it, right? Yeah. And Tara, Sound of Music 100% went through my mind. Dirty Dancing definitely went through my mind. Sleepless in Seattle. L is for the love. Yeah, Sleepless in Seattle was a great movie. I'm trying to think if I have a very top best one. Man, I love them all so much. I love Independence Day. I love War of the Worlds. That might be my favorite. Maybe. And I like the movie. Was it Life? Passengers. Oh my God, Passengers is a great movie. I don't know. There's too many. Great. I love the original Jurassic Park. Right? I love Poppins. It's that Poppins woman. I love Mary Poppins. Yeah. Oh, see, Steel Magnolias. There's another great Steel Magnolias. Casablanca. Yeah, love Titanic, Allison. You can come to my house at any day or night. It's highly likely Titanic will be playing in the background. The Joker. Yeah. Oh, you like Lonesome Dove? That was one of my dad's favorite. Yeah, the original Jurassic Park was so great. I remember getting chills when the brontosaurus holds his head up and looks around for the first time. Ah, it was so great. So great. I'll never be hungry again. No, nor my folks. I don't know why that came out British. Of course, Secret Window, 100%. Mort, why'd you get my story? I published that story before you did, Mort. Show me the proof, Mort. I love the movie. I love it. Oh, you like Cold Mountain? That's a good one. Yes, yes. I like scary movies. So many great movies. I love movies. How about what about chick flicks? Maybe we need to break it down into. Oh, you know what my favorite movie of all time is? It just popped in my head. You want to know what it is? I do have a favorite movie. I don't know how I could forget. I have a favorite movie. Y'all ready? Absolutely, no doubt in my mind, my favorite movie of all time. Memories may be beautiful and then. What movie is that? Yes. It's the greatest movie ever. The Way We Were. Scattered pictures of the smiles we left behind. Memory. No, that's not it. Yeah, The Way We Were. But what is Cats? I'm trying to think of the song for Cats. It just popped out of my head. Pretty Woman's great. Absolutely great. But I love The Way We Were as one of my top movies of all time. In a way, he was like the world he lived in. Everything came too easy. La 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 in the moonlight. Midnight all alone in a moonlight. Has the moon lost her memory? She's smiling alone in a lamplight. The withered leaves collect at my feet, and a new day has begun. That's a terrible song. I have PTSD from Cats. I had PTSD from me trying to sing that Cat song. Look who's appetizing. Billboards everywhere. See hellacious acres. Your tailor-made nightmare. Traffic is backed up for miles. Steady. Steady, have your tickets ready. Steady, steady, go to hell. After dark, it's a sin-filled city, an amusement park. It's a one-way ticket to the other side. It's a Dr. Jekyll, it's a Mr. Hyde. And see Lizzie Borden, she's one of the stars. And picky, parking, flashing you is... Oh, wait, I forgot. Please hit the thumbs up. Please leave a comment. I'm trying to get YouTube to do something with my channel. So thank y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.